From the very day I was born, my script has already been written. This little girl from a small town in Ipoh was either going to be a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer. Probably not an engineer because she's female. And let's be honest, she was going to be a doctor. The lawyer was just for her to feel like she had an option. And that's not it. She's going to probably work very hard because it's expensive. We need a scholarship. And with that scholarship, she can hopefully work in the government till the rest of her time. She won't have time to date, so ideally, she'll have to find a doctor to marry in the hospital. Win-win. Best thing possible, marry an Indian doctor because, hey, Indian population is diminishing, right? We need to savor our people. And then she'll have kids, and then the end. Now, plot twist. That little girl over there broke every single barrier, every single wall, and she wrote her own script. So now, my script. At 23 years old, I did not become a doctor, but I graduated as a pharmacist. I graduated with first-class honors with a Bachelor of Pharmacy honors, and I was awarded 6 Dean's Lists throughout my year as a pharmacist, as a student pharmacist. And then I went on to be working in a hospital and also retail pharmacist for 18 months of my life, until I realized that was not the life for me. So what I did, I quit. And I went through a transformation during my period where I was a pharmacist. Because I could finally afford, I used all my money and I invested in a personal trainer. I invested in taking care of my health, going through my transformation, just so I could be an actress. I have wanted to be an actress all my life. But how do you be an actress? How do you look for casting agents? Do you go on the newspaper and look for Job Street and look for a job? Like, what was I supposed to do? This was 2013. Social media only started at 2010. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't be an actor. So I entered music instead because I had friends who were musicians. Basically, I was going to do anything to enter performing arts, but I never wanted to work in a hospital anymore. And so I became a DJ. I was traveling as a DJ. I started DJing with a band, hoping to one day be able to be given a mic to sing. And then it happened. I started singing backup vocals and only harmonies. And after 6 months of practicing, I was given lead vocals. And then I founded my own band called Access, and I released 2 singles. And I started traveling around Malaysia and even in Singapore singing. To a point, I realized, I don't want to be a singer. I just did anything I could to not be a pharmacist. So I still wanted to be an actress, and I still didn't know the way. And so I joined beauty pageants. I thought this would be the perfect platform for me to showcase my talent to the world, not just Malaysia. And I became a very successful beauty queen. I've represented my country many times, mainly once in Poland, where I represented Malaysia being Miss Supranational Malaysia, and once in Egypt, representing Malaysia, being Miss Intercontinental Malaysia. I was a very successful beauty queen because I put on Malaysia on the map again. If you don't know much about beauty pageants, which I don't think you do, Malaysia is not really a powerhouse in this industry. So I had to fight tooth and nail. And finally, during my reign, Malaysia was recognized. And so I started getting offers. And then I went on to be an actress. And to date, I have over 8 films in the cinemas. I have so many TV dramas, reality TV shows. Thank you. And not just in English, not just in Malay, but in a language that I do not speak at all, Tamil, in Mandarin, even in Punjabi. Ladies and gentlemen, this life was never meant for me. I broke barriers to be able to write the script. But how did it really happen? I remember when I was a little kid. This started from childhood. I used to love watching TV, love watching movies, love watching TV dramas. And I didn't just love watching it, I loved studying it. I would notice whenever my mom, dad, or my grandmother had a reaction, were they crying, were they laughing, were they pissed? I would go home, I was already home. I would go my home, which is my bathroom mirror. Oh, I was the star of my bathroom mirror. I would reenact all those scenes that I watched on TV. I was playing the lead, I was playing the extra, I was the girl, I was the guy. It was a one-woman show. It was amazing. And I always knew I wanted to be an actress from that very moment. But what happened when I went to school, that girl diminishes because I was a victim of bullying. Let's just say I had a very, very late glow up. And listen, beauty wasn't the most important thing at that period. I didn't know nothing about beauty. But I started realizing how I wasn't deemed beautiful by society at that period because I was frequently compared. To this very day in Subang, I'll be known as Reshnu Suri's sister, which is my younger sister's sister. She was so popular. Everybody knew her. And I was the ugly sister of her. It gets better. My whole group of girlfriends, the most prettiest Barbie doll Oriental girls. And then report card day came. My mom had to be there. Have you seen my mom, you guys? She's seated here. She's what you call a goddess. Everyone would compare me to my mom and my sister. It gets better. One day, my grandmother comes for report card day. I kid you not. I was even compared to my grandmother. Someone 45 years my senior, 50 years my senior. Kids are evil. And still, all those didn't bother me because I coped. Next day, I was going to school. Before anyone made fun of me, I made fun of me first. You can't steal my thunder. I'm going to make fun of me, so I'll be the center of attention. It was still a very good game, all fun and games, until drama class came. Back then, for you to get a role in drama class, people had to vote for you. Best believe I had 0 votes. The only time I really felt invisible. People like my sister would hide and cry, please don't vote for me, please don't vote for me. Gets voted, comes home and cries while I'm like, But deep down in my heart, I don't know how, I don't know when, but I knew my time would come. And that was the spark. And then the turning point. Years later, I was 24 years old. I was working in a pharmacy, in a hospital pharmacy. I remember it was a Friday, and if you guys who know about working in the government, Fridays are the best because it's a half day. And I had a very, very tiring week. Ladies and gentlemen, I did not just work in the hospital. My day started at 5:30 in the morning. You saw the photos, right? I used to be plus size. And I knew I wanted to get off working as a pharmacist. But I can't just be playing like the comedic extra roles, being a chubby chub. No. I needed to be the best version of myself. So every 5:30, I would wake up, I would do 45 minutes of cardio, cook my own meals for breakfast, go to work in the hospital until 6, 7, come home, cook dinner, go for band practice, go for vocal training, sometimes even have performance or gig, and prepare again for the next day working in the hospital. It was insane. One day, I woke up from the hospital on a Friday, as I said. I just looked around. First of all, I knew that wasn't my calling because I despise white lights. And hello, hospital, pharmacy, fluorescent lights everywhere. I looked up and I saw the people working around. They were good people, very, very hardworking people. But not everyone was super passionate to be there. I could count with one hand how many of them really wanted to be there. The rest looked like they just gave up in life. Many of them, it felt like this is all they could do. They would probably retire in that place. And I just looked up and realized, were they here because they wanted to? Or was this the best it got for them? Because at that point, I had opportunities and I had offers. If I don't say yes to it now, when will I be able to do it again? And so, with a very, very heavy heart and lots of back and forth, I quit. And I hid it from everybody. Nobody knew I quit except for my band members. I couldn't tell my parents, I couldn't tell my family, I couldn't tell my friends. It was not so much about the fear of disappointing people. It was more of the fear that this was something I knew I was good at, being a pharmacist. I mean, I graduated with first class honors. I studied for 6, 7 years of my life pursuing that degree. and I'm throwing it all away just because I used to act in my bathroom, it started getting to me. And I even remember all the hospital staffs, my boss, this beautiful female head pharmacist, she was like, Sanjna, Suri, are you sure? You're a good pharmacist. You have a career. You have a future in this field. Don't get me wrong. I knew I was good. I was good because I chose to be good. And so it got me thinking, if I was good at something that I wasn't even that passionate in, and I had so many other things in my spare time, couldn't I be great at something that I really would love to do? Something that I've been imagining since I was a little kid? And so I quit. And then I discovered something about the leap. The price of a leap is fear. Right after I quit, I had sleepless nights. All the demons started coming to me. You're going to be broke. You're going to be jobless. You're going to be homeless. Your parents are going to disown you. The community will shunt you. I'm not being dramatic, guys. This could happen. And this was my fear. And you can already imagine that old auntie talking. You see lah, you go and get a job like that, then you quit for pursuing your dreams. This is your dreams. This was my fear. But then I learned, if you ever have a fear, when you're going to choose for something for yourself, and if you're not doing anything illegal, and if you're not harming anyone, embrace the fear. Because the fear only happens when you're about to break free from your comfort zone, when you're about to chase everything that you want. And if you're able to turn that fear into fuel, that fuel can take you places that courage alone could never. And so, fast forward to a few years later, I successfully became an actress, but not a successful actress. I was very, very good in my beauty pageant scene, and slowly I started getting some roles. But I didn't quit my job to be an extra. I didn't quit my job to just have few scenes in the TV. I wanted to be on the big screen. And then I realized I was New Year's Eve. My friend and I, we were writing our goals. So she asked me, what is your goal for the year? Don't judge me. I said I wanted to be in many movies, big screen movies. I wanted to have big brand deals, and I wanted to see my face on billboards. What a fool of herself girl, right? And so she asked me the question, why? I'm like, what, why? I want to be successful. It's my prerogative. She kept drilling me, why? Why? Why do you want to be on billboards? Then she gave me this very, very good analogy. She asked me, if you were given your dream role, be it Bollywood, Hollywood, does not matter. You'll be paid as much as you want, but your face and body will be CGI. Nobody will know that it's you acting in the movie. You won't be able to tell anybody that it's you behind the screen. Would you do it? Yeah, I'll do it. But would that make me feel satisfied? No. Why? Was it the truth that I wanted to be an actress because I had an ugly journey or a not physically beautiful journey and I just wanted to show off to the world? That could be it. You just got to be honest with your why. But that wasn't striking a chord with me. That wasn't it. After a lot of inner work and back and forth, I found my why. And I was shocked by my why. All I've ever wanted, apparently, was to get validated by my family. And I was not proud of that because I always took pride in being a girl who does whatever she wants, who doesn't live by the rules, who wherever her heart desires, she does it. My success dream was freedom. So why was that bothering me? And then I realized, back then when I was working as a pharmacist, my dad would always mention, oh, my elder daughter is a pharmacist and my younger daughter is a doctor. Once I quit, I only heard my younger daughter is a doctor. I didn't even realize the impact it had with me. Now, after a lot of thinking, this made perfect sense. What was I going to describe myself as? What more my dad? He wouldn't know what to say. Like, what is she? An influencer, an actress? She's trying her luck. Oh, she used to sing. Yes, she used to DJ too. What are you going to say? So I don't blame him. He defines success differently, and I define success differently. But it was the day that I admitted my why, when I came to terms with why did I really, really want to be so successful. That's when I realized this was the definition of success in their eyes, in my family's eyes, in my grandparents' eyes, in my auntie's eyes, in these people's eyes. They think you're successful if they see your face on a billboard. They think you're successful if they see your face on a TV and on a big screen. They'll think you're successful if you're getting big brand deals internationally and globally and nationally. And that's why I wanted it. But ladies and gentlemen, the moment you know your why, everything becomes clear. Your energy, your effort into pursuing your dreams becomes clear because you know why do you want it. And ever since I came to terms with my why, that very year, I had 2 lead roles in the cinema. I also had 3 amazing endorsement and ambassadorships, and one of it was a health and wellness brand. And the perks, my parents could enjoy this health and wellness perks and benefits that's worth hundreds of thousands. And I was also casted as in the first ever Punjabi film. That means my mom and dad could bring their whole family and all watch it together and say, hey, that's my daughter. My dream became a reality. It was just that simple. And then I realized, okay, Sanjna, you have achieved this, you have experimented, you have tried. But who are you? And then I realized something that I used to regret. I always used to wish that I started this journey earlier. I wish I didn't waste my time of 7 years entering into med school, working so hard, getting dean's list, getting fat during that period, and so unhealthy just to get that results. That built my character. And this is something that you should always keep in your heart. You can reinvent yourself a million times, but the one thing that will always define you is your core compass. From my dad, I learned to always be the most hardworking person in the room. From my mom, I learned the value of being a woman, of holding yourself with class and grace, and not selling yourself short. From my grandparents, this is who I lived with. This was my circle growing up. From my grandparents, I learned the freedom to be whoever you want to be, and to always be grateful, thankful, and have humility. Looking back, I realized the only way I could have entered into this industry having a clean name without any experience, without any context, without any connection, is because I stick to my core compass. In so many times, in beauty pageant, in my weight loss journey, in acting, I could have taken the easy route. But because I knew my why was to make my family proud, I knew I couldn't take shortcuts. That would bring harm to my family's name. And that's something that we treasure very, very importantly. So whatever said and done, never ever take the shortcut. Because by the day you're on your deathbed, people will remember of the feeling that you brought them, not just your job. And so, back now to this moment, everything seems like a success, but hey, it's always an uphill journey, an uphill battle, right? I still have problems today. Like, one of my biggest issues was having 2 films being released in the same week. Like first world problems, right? I was wondering how to curate my social media content because I had a Tamil film and a Malay film. So that was my problem. But all jokes aside, because nobody laughed anyway, I started then being boxed in because I was a beauty queen and I was a very successful beauty queen. So every time producers, directors, and people watching local TV saw me, they always connected me to being beautiful. And I had enough of taking the penyondol roles, the husband stealer, just the one who cheats around, when I may look the part sometimes, but I know inside I'm completely opposite. I am the biggest advocate for loyalty. And so that was my issue. And so what happened? I joined a national reality game show called Mega Spontan. This is one of the most difficult game shows ever because it's live. And my biggest asset, which is hard work, you could no longer use hard work because this was spontaneous. And bear in mind, Malay was only my third language. So I had to work really hard, but I didn't know really what to work on because it's spontaneous, right? And every week, it was an 8 weeks game show. Every week, I had to dress myself looking really bad. One day it was Avatar, one day it was the Minion, one day I dressed as an eggless, like a bald-headed egghead. But I wanted to prove myself. I wanted people to take me seriously, like, hey, take me seriously, I'm a comedian. And we won. 8 weeks later, this was what felt like the hardest thing in my life. Basically, I was starting to be boxed in as a beautiful beauty queen slash actress. And if there's one thing, guys, I'm allergic to apart from white lights, are boxes. Do not box me. So the moment I feel boxed, I challenged myself and I won. And that very moment I won with my team called Maja Kalat. Shout out to Abang Aman Ramli, Joey Daud, Mamat Sepa, and also Zizan Razak. My team, we won together, and when I held on the trophy, being the first female and the first non-Malay to win Mega Spontan, I realized I'm not just a pharmacist, I'm not just a beauty queen, I'm not just a singer, I'm not just a DJ, I'm not just an actress, I'm a comedian too. And now I actually felt limitless. And so, I feel like the world would always try to put you into a box. Always. They want to define you by something. But our time on earth is so limited, right? We're just renting this place for a while. Are you really just going to do what people assume you to do? Or what people think is best for you? If there's something in your heart that pushes you, that tells you that, hey, go for it, shouldn't you go for it? Don't you owe it to yourself, to this one life you only have? So I ask you again, ladies and gentlemen, what were the box that you were put in when you were born? And when are you getting out of it and getting limitless? Thank you.